governors got together and said, look, let's play for a hog. Let's play for a pig.
Ben and Eric gather at their laptops. One's a gopher, one's a Hawkeye. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the pod of Rosedale, a bronze pig full of hot takes. I'm Ben, the Hawkeye fan, here with Eric, the Gopher fan. Eric.
Fire, Brian.
Oh, whoa.
Wait, what was that? Sorry, were you
Did you
watching
hear those
the
on
football?
TV?
Absolutely. Were you at the game?
No, I was not at the game at all. It would have been a fun one to go to for a bunch of reasons. No, I had a nephew that was getting baptized, and so I was socializing, and I was keeping tabs on the game, and then I saw the second half.
Oh yeah, they were chanting that for most of the game.
I heard that on Twitter. I just didn't hear it, and I had the sound off for a lot of the game. We'll get there, but
Quit being so negative.
Your Gophers were trailing
At halftime,
Louisiana at halftime. How worried were you?
I was very worried. I mean, it was, we talked about it being a must-win game, and it really was seeming like another one of those just let-down losses. Now, they came back in the second half. Kaliak-Manis still has not thrown for 200 yards in a game. That's like my Brian Ferentz point watch is, can he do it? Can he throw for 200 yards in one single game?
I watched a good chunk of the game, and it really looked like the Gophers have reverted to the 2022 structure.
Yeah, just running. All we're going to do is
grind it out and then occasionally throw a pass, try to get a deep chunk play out of the passing game. And that seems like that was it. That seems like that's what the Gophers are doing. And it worked against Louisiana. They wore them down. They pulled away in the second half.
They've had something like 4 different freshman of the week running backs, I think, if I saw that right.
Yeah.
In like 4 consecutive games, they've had a freshman of the week as a running back. This was Zach Evans, I think, is the guy's name that won it this week.
Yeah, they'll just keep grinding it out. That's fine. And if the Gophers ever have to pass to catch up, it's probably going to be a bad situation. But if they can keep it close or maintain a lead, they can just grind it out against everybody that's not Northwestern. There are limits to how well it works, but that seems like what they're doing.
It's not going to work against Michigan, that's for sure.
Probably not, but I don't know what strategy would work for the Gophers. I don't think the Gophers have the personnel to seriously threaten Michigan. Although we'll get there. We'll preview your Wolverines, your matchup with the Wolverines there. You were mentioning the Fire Brian's chance. Well, 26 points is not bad, Eric.
Oh, get out of here!
Impressive job by Brian. I'm super impressed.
Oh my God!
This
is why that's such a sham. This is why that point. Michigan State literally gave Iowa 6 points. Just gave them to them by the going. I don't know. You did you can go back and watch it? So
I've seen all of it.
Going forward on the 4th down at like their 20-yard line, it was one of the dumbest things. It just gave them 3 points. I don't know why they did that. Literally, Iowa had no business winning this game. They should not have won this game.
This is so recent. Iowa gained 100 less yards than Michigan State, but won by 2 scores. I mean, right at the spread. I mean, it was 12.5 when we looked at it. I think it dropped down to like 10. Various outlets. Just classic Iowa. Yeah,
winning on a goddamn punt return.
Iowa had 3 field goals in the second half. All of them were drives that started on Michigan State's side of the field. Right. And one of those drives even lost yards and almost took them out of field goal range. So you had the turnover on downs, which you mentioned, which, anybody, if you have a lead with Iowa in the 2023 version of the game, don't go for it on 4th down on your own side of the field.
Make them score. Yeah, make them have to actually get some yards and first downs. Like, it's such a stupid, idiotic play.
Position. But then the other one was the shanked punt. Yes. The guy just biffed really bad, and Iowa did gain 15 yards or so, enough to kick a field goal, but they had great field position. And the other one was after the fumble recovery to ice the game. And really, the offense did very little. They had 80-some yards in the second half. It was bad. It's a bad second half. A lot of wide receiver drops. I am going to point out. I wasn't upset with Deacon Hill. I thought he looked pretty good. I don't know. I wasn't. He looked like he belonged out there. He missed some throws, whatever.
He had a lower QBR than McNamara.
That's fine. He had. I don't know. Does QBR take into account wide receiver drops?
I don't know.
He was great. Like in the second quarter, he was terrific.
This year, holy grail of advanced stats. Like, what are you now? You don't like QBR? I don't know
QBR. We've already talked about how I don't know QBR, and you don't really know. I don't know what goes into it. I don't know how it's calculated. If it's based on the raw numbers, I get it. But he was really great in the second half or the second quarter, and I loved Iowa. It looked like they were trying to move the ball down the field and score at least a field goal at the end of the half. And there were back-to-back drops.
Values quarterback on all play types on a scale of 1 to 100, adjusted for the strength of the opposing defenses that they faced. I don't know. But
let's say you throw it to a receiver's hand, and it bounces off.
I would assume drops are factored in. I don't know.
Okay.
Who knows?
I don't know. But anyway. It's not great, but it wasn't great.
That's why advanced stats are stupid, but sorry.
McNamara wasn't great either for almost all of these games. He was great the first drive he was in, but it's not like it's been going. He's at the very bottom of the QBR list, as you pointed out last week, the week before. Jeff Sims was the only guy that was lower than. He will finish
his season with a 28 QBR, lowest in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And he will finish 122nd in all of college football, which is 10 from literally the bottom of quarterbacks that qualify. They have to have at least 20 plays.
Yeah, that's fine. So I don't think Deacon Hill being healthy makes the Iowa offense any worse. Maybe it doesn't make him better, but it's not really devastating. He can at least move. A guy that's able to shoot a quarterback sneak.
He's a big boy.
Oh, he's a big boy. Quarterback sneaks are back on the table in a big way. 3rd and 1, just do it. What the stupid tush push or whatever dumb name you want to give it, just do it. So we'll see. I don't know. They were aggressive. They didn't slow the game plan down for them. Iowa passed it a bunch. They passed it as much as they ran it on first down. They passed it more on second down than they ran it. It was an aggressive game plan. Didn't work out. It was
11 for 27.
Yeah, and there was probably 5 wide receiver drops among those, so the number should have been better. But he's a backup quarterback coming in relatively cold. I don't know. I'm not worried about it. I like the game plan, and Iowa's offense was bad enough that it's not like, oh, man, the bottom's going to fall out. We'll see. McNamara was clearly not healthy and couldn't hardly move. So, yes, it's silly
so ACL, he blew. Is it his ACL? Is that what
I think his MCL is what it is, but he's definitely out.
Season-ending surgery. Okay.
Yes, he's done. He's not playing again. Going to be back 2024. Hopefully he can be fully healthy. I'd love to see him fully healthy, but that's not going to happen. So it's Deacon Hill's show the rest of the way.
Does he get a medical exemption? Right, he does, right?
I don't know. I'm not interested in predicting this NCAA's rules.
Well, he's not a senior, is he? He has eligibility.
No, he had 2 years of eligibility left. So even if they don't medical Richard, he has another year left.
Okay.
I think next year would be his last year. I don't think he'd want the medical Richard. I think he'd probably rather put together one good season and then move on to whatever's next.
Move on to what? Being an accountant?
Sure.
He's not going to play in the NFL.
Oh, ouch.
He's
Put that on the bulletin board, Cade.
He's bad. Okay. He's a bad quarterback, I think.
Was he bad at Michigan?
I don't know. Having the talent around him is what helps.
Well, if you're in the NFL, you usually have talented people.
Yeah, but you want a guy who's actually good, though.
But if he was good with really good players at Michigan, it maybe isn't that he's terrible.
He wasn't great. There's a reason they moved on from him.
Well, J.J. McCarthy was better. I don't think there's any disputing that. J.J. McCarthy was just better. Okay. I have no idea if he'll play in the NFL.
His best season, he threw 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions.
Okay, that's a good number.
They're not. It's not great,
but it's good. It's not bad. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Whether he plays in the NFL or not, I don't care.
Then let the Seahawks draft him. I want no business of Cade McNamara if I'm an
Says the guy who loves Kirk Cousins and thinks Kirk Cousins is the bee's knees. It's the best quarterback in this or any generation. Talking trash about quarterbacks. That's fine. Well, Cade, if you're listening, you're probably not listening. Let Eric's just hate fuel you to a great 2024 season.
I'm not saying that go for quarterbacks any good, but Cade McNamara
you are
is not.
So hyped on that guy.
I was.
And that went ice cold very quickly.
Because I watched him play, and he's not good either.
But you didn't watch him play last year? Or you did, and you just came to a bad conclusion?
here's the thing. You'd like to anticipate a little progression for players, like maybe the coaches. See, this is the problem with Ferentz and his regime is like the defense, all those guys get every year you can bank on it. There's going to be a linebacker who was decent last year and now all of a sudden is just all over the field.
Jay Higgins, nobody knew Jay Higgins really.
There's going to be a safety cornerback guy who's like just going to come out the gates incredible from the season before. Case in point, you got DeJean, right? Like he was good
great last year, but yeah.
Right, but he's like next level great now.
He's the guy that's going to be a first round draft pick.
Correct, and he should be. But
you want him on the Vikings?
Absolutely, I would take him on the Vikings. But for some reason, the offense, it doesn't work that way. You can't. It's just like quarterback play is a perfect example of this. You think, okay, all of a sudden next year you got a whole off season to train and work with the staff. You played a little bit one season. Now you're going to start. It's all on you. And these guys are awful. I don't understand it. Do the coaches not work with the quarterbacks or the offense? I mean, Petrus got worse over time, not better, right?
Sure. Quarterbacks have got. I mean,
I think that's the biggest criticism of if it's Kirk. I don't know if it's Brian. I don't know who it is, but the fact that they cannot get their offense of players better over time.
Well, C.J. Beathard was drafted and played, and I don't know if he's still in the NFL, but he was a backup quarterback in the NFL, but he was an NFL quarterback. Like, okay, fine, a low tier, bottom, 5 worst quarterbacks in the NFL. He
was like an undrafted free agent, right?
Sure, but he stuck around. Like, there's a lot of guys like
so did Adam Porter or whatever.
Rosen is gone. I mean, think of all the high round on draft picks that are just totally gone, and he's better than Trubisky. Anyway, my point is they've had talented guys. Charlie Jones is in the NFL. No thanks to Iowa. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Your overall point's correct. The Iowa offense is bad. They're still bad.
C.J. Beathard was a 3rd round draft pick.
Yeah.
By the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah. Okay.
Their quarterback now was the last pick, literally the last pick of the draft, and now he's maybe the best quarterback in the NFL. I don't know.
But Iowa's offense is bad. All 16 points by the Iowa scored in the second half against Michigan State. Almost none of that is attributable to the offense, really. 2 of those drives started in field goal range. One was on the edge of field goal range, and they gained like 13 yards. That goes to Brian.
And then you got the punt return for a touchdown.
Right. Which, again, Cooper DeJean, that was right on, dude. Super explosive. Everybody's been waiting all year. When's it going to happen? When's it going to break one?
And I texted you, I think Brian Ferentz should just pass his paycheck over to DeJean. I don't think if DeJean walked in the locker room and was like, pay me, Brian, like, I think he'd have every right to say that. He had the one pick in the end zone, saved their ass at the pick in the end zone, and then won the game with the punt return.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
He saved his job.
We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of games left. Iowa barely eked out 26 points.
Well, I think they lose that game after that showing. I don't think he leaves the stadium.
Who's gonna fire him? Let's say
the athletic director. I don't know. Can the athletic director not fire him?
Could, but would she? Would the currently temporary acting athletic director just say, Brian,
the fans were chanting "Fire Brian" throughout the game.
It gets better than that. Yeah, all right, we've talked about how wonderful the wave is. There was a sign in the hospital that said "Fire Brian." It's like,
oh my god,
or "Fire Brian." I mean, it was there.
So when they turned cameras to wave at the sick kids, there was a sign that said "Fire Brian."
Brian. Yep.
Oh, man.
So it gets even better. Look, I don't like the situation. I want a real offensive coordinator. Indiana fired their offensive coordinator. Indiana's offense is terrible. Also, their defense is not very good, so they're bad overall. The Gophers have fired their offensive coordinator. Everybody else has done this. Iowa hasn't, and it's irritating. It's infuriating. Iowa's still going to win 8 games minimum. I mean, that's the floor. The defense and special teams are good enough to keep Iowa in every one of these games rest of the way. But enough about the same old story. What else did we learn week 5 on the college football season?
Illinois is bad.
Okay.
You've kind of been on that train the whole season.
That's true. They are bad. That's correct.
Is Purdue maybe better than we thought? They've been so up and down.
I don't think so. I mean,
Purdue beat Illinois at home 44-19.
Right. So that's the score. If you look inside the numbers again, I don't think Illinois and Purdue were that far away points-wise. Purdue got the fumble in the end zone.
It's 13-16 at halftime.
Yeah, and just kind of pulled away. Illinois slowed down a little bit, but they had comparable yards. Each had a turnover. It's just Purdue made enough conversions to move the chain. I think Purdue's better. I don't think Purdue is, 3 touchdowns better, but that doesn't really matter. We'll get to learn a little bit more about Purdue. So, yeah, I mean, Purdue's probably less bad. Illinois just got to be at the bottom of that pecking order. 2-3. Tough games coming up. Maryland's still really good. Maryland's 5-0. They're rolling.
Like you said, Indiana's not a very good team.
Maryland hasn't played any good teams. I mean, not a single one, really. All of them have been bad. Michigan State.
Tagovailoa is, unbelievable. He's just 5 touchdowns, just absolutely crushing it.
Oh, yeah, he's shredded. He's been great. We'll see what happens. Things are going to start to uptick for Maryland, but it's been a good showing. They'd probably be the best team in the West if they were there. They're just going to have to deal with some really, really good teams. But otherwise, I mean, they have Rutgers. Wagner is meaningless.
He's got the 3rd highest QBR in the Big Ten.
Yeah, he's really good. Michigan's a lot better than Nebraska. I mean, not a shock at all. Nebraska got clobbered. Penn State also clobbered Northwestern. And then, your Gophers pulled away late. It was dicey for a little bit, but in the end, your Gophers got the job done. So let's transition upcoming week. We'll start with Friday. We've got the Nebraska Cornhuskers going to Champaign to take on Illinois in I would want to just call this a Big Ten West elimination game. Is that fair to say?
Can they both lose? I mean, neither of them have won a Big Ten game yet.
Oh, neither one's going to win the Big Ten West, but it's going to be the hope's going to be completely gone for one to lose this game.
If you're 0-3 in the Big Ten, it's going to be tough.
There's just not really any way to claw your way out of that hole. You're just
Illinois is 3.5-point favorites at home.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Truth be told, I think Nebraska wins. I just think Illinois is really bad.
I do too.
Illinois' offense is actually probably close to more average than just straight terrible. But their defense, I mean, they give up minimum of 400 yards, and Nebraska's the best defense they'll have played. So I think Nebraska keeps it ugly. It's going to be an ugly, gross, low-scoring game because Nebraska's offense is bad too.
Yeah, I think that's right.
5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He didn't throw an interception last week, so he kept it at 7. But he still hasn't thrown as many touchdowns as interceptions. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Nebraska wins an ugly one, and Illinois is going to have to deal with a big drop-off from last year. So now let's swing things over. It's Saturday. You've gotten your chores done early. You got 2 games to choose from. We got Maryland and Ohio State and Rutgers at Wisconsin. If you got to watch one of those games, which one are you watching, Eric?
I'm watching the Maryland-Ohio State game. I think Ohio State's 20-point favorites.
That's big. It's a big number.
And I think Maryland makes that a game. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, we'll learn exactly how good Maryland is, but Ohio State hasn't looked great in any of their games. They barely beat Notre Dame. They've just sort of eked by this season. I mean, they played some. Obviously, they're a great team. They're going to be in the conversation, but they beat Indiana 23-3. Didn't put up a lot of points against Indiana, and then they played like some terrible ass teams and barely beat Notre Dame on the last play. So I don't know if Ohio State's as good as ranked 4 in the entire country, but
sounds like you're saying a Maryland cover, but Ohio State win.
Yeah, I don't think Maryland's going to win the game, but I think they're definitely going to keep it within 20.
Interesting. All right. I mean, I don't think Maryland's going to pull the upset at all. I think it's going to go the other direction. I mean, I think Ohio State's a lot better than you do. I don't hold that Notre Dame win against them, and I mean, it was at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame was really, really good. They run a tough road game, and their defense is really excellent. This is going to be Maryland, the best defense Maryland's played by far, not even close. Maryland's not played a defense as good as this. So, and Maryland kind of does this every year. They start off, they shred teams, their offense looks explosive, and it's like, ooh, we're all hyping ourselves into Maryland. And then they play a real team with a physical defense, and they just get mauled.
They beat Michigan State, who your Iowa Hawkeyes should have lost to, 31-9.
I think Maryland's a better team than Iowa. I'm not saying
on the road.
That's fine. Maryland's a better team, and they have an actual offense. I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't change how I feel about this game, though. I mean, 2021, 2 years ago, Iowa went to Maryland and played a game, and everybody hyped themselves up because Maryland had the explosive offense, and Iowa was their same old p-diddly defense, offense, optional selves. And Maryland crumbled against Iowa and imploded. Okay. A bunch of turnovers, couldn't move the ball, and Iowa actually moved the ball a ton. It was one of their only really good offensive performances of the last 3 years. I think it's going to be a lot more like that, but even worse, because Ohio State's going to have the great defense and an offense that can actually punish Maryland's defense.
I disagree.
So we'll see. And I'm also curious, though, this Rutgers-Wisconsin slugfest. I like Rutgers a lot. This is going to be a real chance for them to prove that their success is meaningful.
You like Rutgers more than Maryland? If they play. Who wins? If say they're playing this weekend, who you pick?
I'd probably pick Maryland. I think Maryland's a better team overall than Rutgers. But
they play the last game of the season, by the way.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, no, I think that'll be a really fun game, actually. A game for bowl pecking order eligibility for Rutgers. But Rutgers, they haven't played a tough schedule until they got to Michigan and they got, stumped. That's
31-7.
Yeah. Well, and that's a decisive loss. But I'll be curious because they've got a real defense. They're going to play Wisconsin in Camp Randall. So it's going to be I'm talking to myself right here. I've been talking myself into a Rutgers cover is what I think. Yeah, I think they can ugly it up. Ugly it up.
I think they might win that game.
Ooh, you're going for a straight. So you've got Wisconsin on straight up upset alert.
Yeah, I do.
Now we need a soundboard with just stupid little things we can do whenever something happens. All right, so you're going out. Definitely would put money on Rutgers. I wouldn't want them to straight up, but I think they ugly it up. I think the defense is good enough to keep it close and gross and competitive. Now we'll move a little late in the afternoon. Northwestern Howard. Nothing to say about that one. Northwestern's going to get their third win, and we're officially going to be on Northwestern over alert. Your over is going to be a really strong play. From here on out, I think Northwestern's going to be 3-3.
Yep. Pat myself on the back, just like Ben loves to do himself.
Well, we'll see. They still have to be a non-Minnesota team. They don't get to play the Gophers again. So that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But they'll win this game.
They'll beat Illinois.
Ooh, that's going to be a really interesting pillow fight. That's going to be really interesting.
They'll beat Maryland.
No. I don't. Oh, no. Okay, yeah.
No. They might need Nebraska, Illinois, Purdue are like the only 3 games that I think they may lose. May help me get to their over.
Okay, we'll see. We'll be one away. Certainly the under's no good. The under's busted. Your Gophers busted the under. Best case scenario is a push because I picked the under. Now I don't want to do Iowa Purdue's game of the week. You're probably going to try to do that, but I don't want that. I want to talk about the nightcapper. So let's save that one for last, and let's just talk this super uncomfortable, miserable game that's going to be coming up Saturday. Iowa hosting Purdue. Iowa started off as 4.5 point favorites, and the line has shifted towards Purdue, and it's now down to Iowa 2.5. I think.
Is that the McNamara out for the season?
I think it's the backup quarterback. I think it's Purdue. I mean. If you didn't watch the game at all, it just looks like Purdue blew the doors off of Illinois. They did kind of, but I don't know if it was that massive a blowout, really. So it looks like Purdue just is kind of trending up, and Iowa's trending down. And I've said since the beginning of the year I was going to go 9-3. I've got the Wisconsin game as a loss, and I'm just trying to figure out whether it's Purdue Minnesota or Nebraska that Iowa loses their third game to. And this really could be it. I'm getting a lot of 2021 vibes. So you'll recall Iowa had an emotional win against Penn State, exhausting night game, electric atmosphere. The next week they were like double-digit favorites over Purdue, and Purdue just blew the doors off of Iowa. In a game that wasn't, it was 24-10, and it wasn't even that close. It felt like way worse. And then the week after that, Iowa also lost to Wisconsin in Camp Randall. And it was the 2-game stretch, the 2 games Iowa lost in 2021, coming off of emotional night game wins with a couple of electric plays towards the end that helped Iowa seal the deal. My brain can't shake that I think it's Purdue and Wisconsin winning back-to-back weeks. That's how I feel. I'll be happy to be wrong, but that's where I'm leaning. Eric, am I wrong?
I think Purdue wins this game.
Oh, so I'm not wrong. Okay.
No, I don't. It's only 2.5-point favorites at home, basically a toss-up. Vegas gives 3 points for the home team, basically. I think Purdue wins this game. I think Brian Ferentz loses his job.
What?
And yeah.
You think this is it?
I think this is it. Mm-hmm.
Not only does Iowa lose, it's not going to be. Beth Gatz is saying, okay, Brian's out.
It's another home game. It's going to be 3-17 at halftime, and the crowd is going to be losing their minds trying to get Brian fired. They're going to chant "Fire Brian" and scream and shout, and it's going to be tough to watch.
Interesting.
They may eke out another defensive score or punt a touchdown or something like that, but still lose. And Brian's gone.
That's fascinating. All right.
Were you secretly hoping that Michigan State won that game?
No, because Brian, I don't think. I mean, I disagree with
Where is he on the point watch? Is he back on track? He is, right?
No, it's basically needs 26 points. I mean, it's I think slightly over 26 points, but basically Iowa needs 26 points a game through the rest of the year. So he didn't really lose any ground or gain any ground. He's kind of on track. And if Iowa gets 26 points against Purdue, I think Iowa will beat Purdue. So, it's going to require Iowa to move the ball some to hit those point totals and win the games. I don't know that it'll be 17-3. We'll see. Purdue hasn't had a defense as good as Iowa's, but Iowa's pass rush isn't great. Purdue's defense is also not great. And
neither was Michigan State's, though. I mean, Michigan State didn't have a good defense or offense, and
Iowa moved the ball via the air for a half, and then that went away. And I put more of that on the wide receivers than you do. That's fine. I don't think a week of being the number one guy with a game plan built around Deacon Hill who can actually move is going to hurt Iowa necessarily, but it's going to be ugly and gross. It'll be a problem if it's 17-3 Purdue at the half. That'll be a big time problem. But no, I wasn't. Brian's not going to be fired. That's where I really disagree. I mean, I guess Iowa could be down 17-3. That's on the realm of, definitely feasible. Brian's not going to be fired if Iowa loses the game. It's just not going to happen during the season. There's simply no way. I don't think Beth Gatz is going to come in and say he's fired. I don't think that's going to happen. Kirk's going to not do it. And what would happen, I think, would be more like Brian has agreed to move to a different position, and it's not going to be he's fired. There's not going to be a headline or the words uttered, we've let him go or we've relieved him.
Maybe he resigns. I don't know.
Sure, but that's going to happen.
Dad's like, you have to resign.
In the off season, though. It's not going to happen during the season. I would bet a substantial amount of money.
So you're saying there is no possibility that Beth Gatz says to Kirk, either you fire your son or you're fired?
Not during the season. Not at all during the season. Nope. It's maybe some version of that, maybe a little less forceful in the offseason.
Because a new athletic director might want to say, I want to pick my coach. I want to start fresh.
Maybe, but she's temporary right now, and there's just no way she's going to do that during the season. And Kirk's not going to, absolutely not. It's not going to happen during the season. Iowa could go whatever the math is, 4-8 with 10 points a game the rest of the season.
I mean, we're seeing a lot of Big Ten coaches fired midseason. How many last year? 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, Wisconsin fired their coach. I don't know who else.
Nebraska.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's not happening, though. It's not going to happen now.
Michigan State's already fired their head coach. I know that was for different reasons, but...
Yeah, but again, it's not going to happen. I promise you, Brian Ferentz will not be fired during the season or let go or anything else. None of that's going to happen during the season.
Okay.
I think it will probably happen, or some version of that, in the off season, but it won't matter. It could be 35-3, and Iowa could lose 49-10 to Purdue, and he's not going to be fired.
I mean, Brett Bielema's right there. He's right there.
I don't want Iowa to hire Brett Bielema at all. There are guys on the coaching staff that we'd love. There are plenty of other coaches out there that I'd be happy. I'd much rather they hire Bob Stoops than, Brett Bielema. If we're talking about a guy with Iowa ties. I mean, Brett Bielema's got to be the bottom of anybody's pecking order. I don't know. And that's assuming he'd leave Illinois, which would be, I think, kind of a scandalous turn of affairs, really, to just go a little bit west to another Big Ten team. But it won't matter. I hope you're wrong about the score.
I mean,
it's like, okay, but there was a big gap. He didn't leave Wisconsin and go to Illinois. He left Wisconsin, went to the SEC.
No, but he left to like Arkansas or something like that.
Right. But I don't know how often that happens in conference. I mean, how often does a head coach from one Big Ten team in the offseason go directly to another Big Ten team? I mean, has that ever happened? It's happened like once or twice, maybe.
Yeah, I guess. But now the conferences are so big. I mean, that's bound to happen.
Sure, the chances have gone will go up for sure. But I just don't think it's very unlikely that Bielema would leave Illinois for Iowa, and I don't think they'd want him. And there's a lot of better choices. A lot of great options.
All right. Well, so what you think Iowa blows them out?
No, you apparently didn't hear what I said. I think this is one where Purdue wins. I think it's going to be. I
didn't hear you actually predict that.
No, I think it's going to be a repeat of 2021. I think Iowa loses to Purdue.
You heard it here, folks.
Iowa is going to also follow it up with a loss to Wisconsin, in which the offense is especially bad.
And then another loss to Minnesota? 3 losses in a row?
I think Iowa gets back on track and wins out after that to finish 9-3 and miss out on a Big Ten West championship game, but have a perfectly fine bowl in Tennessee or Florida, most likely. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, if Iowa beats Purdue, great. Then that means I'm now worried about your Gophers or the Cornhuskers. But I think, again, 9-3 is how it turns out. I think this is. I don't think it'll be 17-3 at the half. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it'll be a lot closer. I just think it's going to be close, and the break's going to go on Iowa.
Backup quarterbacks are usually really good for the offense.
Again, Eric, you reach a point where the offense is so terrible, does it really matter?
Okay.
How much worse could Deacon Hill do than McNamara did over the first 4 games?
Game of the week on NBC Peacock Saturday night. Okay, can I just get a take off my chest?
Please do. I love the segue, by the way. Go ahead.
The stupid Fall Out Boy Saturday night song. Can we please stop with that trash? I hate it. I hate it. I hate the little promo video. I hate the guy's stupid hat. I don't like Fall Out Boy. Never been a Fall Out Boy guy. But this is Saturday night thing. Like I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That's my take.
Okay, that's fine.
And that's the promo for the Saturday night game, which is Michigan, Minnesota. It was relevant to our conversation here.
Sure. Well,
the game's going to be not fun to watch either, because Michigan is going to destroy the Gophers.
Not so fast, my friend. I think your Gophers ugly this game up.
What?
They're not going to win. I don't want to give you false hope.
Michigan's a 19-point favorite.
You were just
on the road.
What does that matter? You were confident Maryland's going to cover and keep it tight against Ohio State. Who's a 20-point favorite? Michigan's
They're playing
going to win.
for the little brown jug.
All Minnesota has to do to cover is, lose by 17. That's all Minnesota has to do. They're going to grind it out. They're not going to. I think PJ Fleck feels about Cali McManus the same way, and the Gopher receiving options the same way you do. They're going to grind it out. They're going to try to chew up clock to reduce possessions.
I don't think it's the receivers for the Gophers. I think it's just the play calling and the quarterback.
Okay.
The receiving course pretty good.
I'm not convinced of that, but that doesn't matter. It's beside the point. It's not going to matter because they're not going to pass a bunch. It's going to be a heavy dose.
They have a good tight end. Daniel Jackson's got 4 receiving touchdowns.
Okay. Congrats. Daniel Jackson's good, but that's one guy, and that's whatever. That's fine. We're splitting over hairs about why the Gophers.
Spanford's a good tight end.
Sure, I mean he's no Eric All, but that's fine. You can be happy with your guy.
Eric All, why is he so slow? What's up with that? There was that one tight end screen pass, and he had all this field. He just runs so slow.
Okay.
I'm not impressed with him.
Okay, that's fine. Be not impressed. I don't know how fast.
And he had that one fumble where the guy just ripped it right out of his hands. Where was that last week?
That was against Penn State, and that was because his biggest point is I hate how he carries the ball.
Yeah,
he holds it like a loaf of bread. It's so upsetting, and it's like people.
It almost happened again in this game, but then he flipped over the guy and he actually held on to the ball. But
yep.
It looked very precarious, like it was.
It's the same thing. No, the announcer commented. No, it was against Penn State because he was diving forward and he had the ball out there, and it's just very easy to punch it out right as he was coming to the ground. And even on the touchdown pass that he had, like he's just carrying the ball out there so awkwardly. And it's like somebody's going to be just swat that thing. Like, yeah, they can't tackle you, but they're going to knock the ball away. It drives me batty. I don't know. His speed seems fine to me, but maybe he should have gotten more than 32 yards on that. It was a busted coverage. I know what you're talking about. It was like he ran a shallow cross and just nobody covered him.
Nobody was there. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nobody on that side of the field.
Should have got 50 yards.
Okay, I don't know how many tight ends would have gotten 50 yards out of that. The other guys are pretty fast too, but that's fine. Anyway, Gophers passing game, is it going to be a factor? It's Gophers running game, that is. Gophers rushing defense, they're gonna try to push Michigan, force them to pass.
But Michigan's they have the best quarterback statistically in the Big Ten, and the Gophers secondary is atrocious. The amount of yards they've given up and touchdowns they've given up in the air is bonkers. So Michigan's going to put up like 50 points in the air.
Ooh, okay. So 7 touchdown passes for the Gophers.
Yeah, maybe.
Wolverines. Okay, that's a big take. The Wolverines also haven't really played anybody, and it's going to be a pretty hostile atmosphere. Is the bank sold out?
No, probably not.
Bummer.
Louisiana put up 24. Northwestern put up 34. North Carolina put up 31. Their defense is not what you think it is, and especially their secondary.
No, the secondary is bad. I agree the Gopher secondary is bad. But I think that they're going to be able to just chew up enough clock. They're going to get a couple of plays here and there. Going to catch Michigan off guard. And I think the final score is probably something like, I don't know, let's call it 30-13 Michigan. That's my score prediction.
Okay.
How bad does the damage get? You obviously got Michigan covering. Hard cover.
Well, okay, so 51-21.
And okay. I think if the Gophers score 21 points, I'm confident that Michigan will score less than 38, but we'll see. But all right, everybody, that's it. That's the upcoming week of Big Ten football.
Fire Brian. Oh, they're chanting again, Ben. Can you hear them?
Sure. Gosh. Well, you heard it here, folks. Iowa gets blown out by Purdue, and Brian has to just pack up his stuff in his locker and just head home into his mansion wherever he lives in Iowa City. Thanks, everybody.
Yep, thanks for listening. Rate and review, and thanks to Go Iowa Awesome Rivals Iowa for the support. And keep on trucking.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.